The Young and the Restless, spoilers. The price of betrayal, Kyle's downfall. Kyle Abbott had always been confident, some might even say cocky. Raised in the shadow of Jabot's empire, he had long understood the intricacies of the family business. He knew the value of every decision, the power behind every formula, and the weight of every product launched. But this time, Kyle thought he had outsmarted them all, even his father, Jack. He had stolen the formula. The prized, perfected moisturizer formula created by Jabot was now the driving force behind Glissade, the company Kyle had partnered with. It was a gold mine, a revolutionary skincare product that had taken the market by storm. Orders for the moisturizer were flooding in, demand skyrocketing beyond anyone's expectations. Kyle basked in the glory of his success, believing he had secured his place as a titan in the beauty industry. He thought his father wouldn't dare expose him. After all, Kyle was Jack's son. Blood is thicker than water, isn't it? But Kyle underestimated one crucial thing: Jack's integrity and the weight of the Abbott family name. For days, Jack had remained silent, grappling with his emotions. He had watched Kyle parade around, celebrating his so-called victory with Glissade, all while Jack sat with the undeniable evidence of his son's betrayal. It wasn't just about the theft. It was about the principle, the trust that had been shattered, and the fact that Kyle, his own flesh and blood, had stolen from the family business. Jack couldn't take it anymore. Every day, the thought gnawed at him. He loved his son, but Kyle's arrogance and reckless ambition had crossed the line. Jack wasn't just the head of Jabot, he was the guardian of the Abbott legacy. He knew that if he allowed this theft to go unpunished, it would set a dangerous precedent. Not just for Kyle, but for anyone who thought they could steal from the company and get away with it. One evening, as Kyle reveled in his perceived triumph, Jack made his decision. He had the evidence, undeniable proof that the moisturizer formula belonged to Jabot. There was the video footage from the lab, showing Kyle sneaking in after hours. There were the documents with timestamps proving the formula had been created and registered under Jabot long before Kyle had any involvement with Glissade. It broke Jack's heart to do it, but he knew what had to be done. The following morning, he handed everything to the police. Kyle's world came crashing down in an instant. He had been on top of the world, blinded by his success, but he never saw it coming. One moment he was at the Glissade office, celebrating another round of record-breaking sales, and the next, he was being escorted out by police officers, handcuffed in front of his entire staff. The flashing lights, the cameras, it was all too much. "What the hell is going on?" Kyle demanded. "You're under arrest for the theft of proprietary business materials from Jabot Cosmetics," the officer said, his voice cold and unfeeling. Kyle's mind spun. His father had done this. His own father. It didn't seem real. Jack wouldn't go this far, would he? They were family, after all. But as the realization set in, Kyle knew deep down that Jack had known for days. He had watched, waited, and then struck with precision. There was no getting out of this. Back at Jabot, Jack stood in his office, staring out the window. The weight of what he had done pressed down on him. He had just sent his own son to jail. Diane stood behind him, silent but supportive. She knew this wasn't easy for Jack. He had agonized over this decision for days, torn between his duty as the head of Jabot and his love for Kyle. "You did the right thing," Diane finally said, her voice soft but firm. Jack didn't respond immediately. He continued staring at the skyline, the city bathed in the golden glow of the late afternoon sun. He had to believe that he had done the right thing, but the pain of betraying his own son gnawed at him. "Maybe," Jack muttered, his voice hoarse. "But it doesn't feel like it." Meanwhile, Glissade, the company that had ridden the wave of success on the back of Jabot's stolen formula, was now in shambles. With Kyle's arrest, the company was forced to shut down, and its assets were seized. Victor Newman, one of Glissade's key investors, took a significant financial hit. It wasn't just about the money, it was the loss of prestige, the public embarrassment of backing a company that had engaged in corporate theft. Victor wasn't used to losing, and he didn't take it lightly. He had trusted Kyle, albeit grudgingly, and now that trust had backfired spectacularly. As much as Victor hated Jack Abbott, he knew there was no fighting this. The evidence was ironclad. Glissade's doors were closed for good, and with that, Victor lost a fortune. But But the biggest blow landed squarely on Kyle's shoulders. Sitting in a cold interrogation room, he stared blankly at the table, his mind racing. How had it come to this? He had thought he was invincible, that no one would dare touch him. But he was wrong. Jack had destroyed him. The door to the interrogation room opened, and in walked the detective. Kyle's stomach twisted as he prepared for what came next. "We've got more than enough to keep you here, Mr. Abbott," the detective said, dropping a file on the table. "Between the video footage and the documents, it's clear you stole the formula from Jabot, and your father has given us everything we need." Kyle swallowed hard. He had been so certain of his success, so blinded by the thrill of outsmarting everyone. But now, the reality of his situation hit him like a freight train. He was going to prison. And there was no